welcome. Today, it seems like all the attention, town meeting's coming up, we're going to be talking about buying the water company and why we should own our water company. Because the rates go up 30%, and they complain that they're only going up 30. They wanted 50. We always forget about the little department at the end of town. Well, I don't even know if it's in Milford. I think it's in Hopedale, which I never figured out how it ended up in Hopedale, but our sewer department. I mean, I guess the best news about our sewer department is you never think about them. And that's probably the best thing. It's like IT. The only time you think about them is when there's a problem. But why don't we start with introductions?
I'm Tom Morelli. I'm a sewer commissioner.
I'm Rudy Lioce III. I'm a sewer commissioner.
John Mainini, Director of Operations.
Rudy, how long you been? I can remember the year you first started and John threatened to put you down the manhole.
Yeah, I think I'm going into my 11th year. I was a year behind Tom.
Yeah, it was 2008.
Wow. I was just thinking about that when we made the joke that, okay, he's the new guy. You're going to send him down the manhole.
Little suit and all.
John's got us all beat.
Well, we just saw, Paul Mazzucchelli is going to be the new young guy in the Board of Health, because he'll only have 30 years or 30-some years.
Minimal experience.
But that's something to be said. I heard you guys talking, and you're rattling off streets. You're not telling each other where the streets are. I mean, you got to be an old Milfordian to just name these streets and know where they are.
I grew up in Holliston, so I've been learning through the years. I know most of them. What's impressive, John, he knows pretty much, which ones have sewer, how deep the sewer is. He's very knowledgeable of the streets and the, where the flow goes.
Yeah, that's 2 years of experience.
No, but you think about it. How much of Milford has sewer? What percentage you think?
We're up around 90% or 92, somewhere around there.
So basically, almost the entire town.
Almost the entire town.
A few outskirts, as you're well aware.
Well, I'm on the outskirts.
Yeah.
But that's the same question we have with the water.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because once we buy the water company, it'll be the first question I ask. How much of it is town water?
Right.
I mean, the end of Whitewood Road, the last couple 100 feet, has no town water.
Yeah.
It makes no sense to me at all. But we went through that when we had cable, where all of a sudden you found out there's a little spur and took years to at least understand.
Well, it was like the discussion when we were doing a preliminary plan about how we could bring sewer up there and just the astronomical cost it was going to be when we inquired about that when we sat down to the FinCom and this board a few years ago. Just sometimes the cost isn't worth the
No,
return.
but at least if you have the answer. Because the answer I never accepted from cable was, oh, it costs too much.
Yeah.
Okay. And when we took apart and found that out of the 8 or 9 areas, 5 of them cost too much.
Right.
3 of them could be done.
Yeah.
Right, and it would be a little easier if the sewer was run like the cable.
Poles.
Yeah, well, I mean, you got a blast, you have an elevation issue. Mainly digging up the roads it's a costly, it's a big price.
Now, years ago, we tied Hopkinton in. How has that worked for us?
First couple of years, they were using it and paying us, and they paid for the whole Purchase Street.
Yeah, a lot of people on Purchase Street got
sewer, and they paid for that whole thing, that whole project and stuff, reimbursed us for that after we had put it in when we signed the contract with them. And then the first couple of years, they were pumping it to us, and we were making some decent money, $5,000-10,000 a month, something like that.
Oh, wow.
And then they built their own treatment plant, and they got by Saddle Hill somewhere, and now they use that. A couple times they come back to us, like if they have a problem with that, or if they have heavy water once in a while, they were coming back to us and do it. But they haven't really, I'd say 2-3 years now, they haven't.
But then, John, that was the perfect solution for us, right?
Yeah.
They paid for Purchase Street and then stopped using it.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And
Well, I'm sorry not to interrupt, but there's some businesses on South Street that had, obviously Lonzo was one of the biggest ones. There was some of the driving force up there that kind of propelled that project to kind of get finished. So, you know, and some of those businesses are gone now, so now there's not as much. We actually recently had the discussion about that at one of the meetings. We asked what we were getting, and his response was pretty much nothing right now. So just in regards to maintenance with that, there's a meter station up there that comes at the Hopkinton-Milford line. So just try to keep that all up to date as much as we can in case we need to go back online.
Yeah, and I believe the contract it was a 10-year contract, is just about up.
Just about up, we have to start.
So
Another year,
you know,
one more year
whether we
left
want to
on that.
renew it, whether they want to renew it, that's going to have to be worked out, or at least, you know, investigated what we're going to do there.
But there's no dire need to renew it on our part.
But I think,
Well, it depends on how much they're sending us, because we were getting 1.5 times the rate that we would
No,
from
I understand, Tom, but if they said they don't want it anymore,
Oh yeah, no, that's
we don't need them.
no.
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 No, it was right
No.
from the beginning, they needed us, not, we didn't need
Yeah.
them.
Yeah.
But I mean, it was nice, because if I was on Purchase Street,
Right.
and all
And
of
there
a
was
sudden,
over 100
Yeah.
houses, I think it was like 120 houses we had figured in that area
that got sewer
that
because
most
of
of
the
them,
deal.
most of them,
Yep.
in fact, I inspected one today.
Yeah, we're
That
still
was
tying
one
some
of the
in.
few ones that are left, some of them are still left.
As the septics are failing, they're
Or
tying
as they
into
try
the town.
selling their house too.
Yeah, Title V, you know.
Oh, I never thought
And it
about
was
that.
and it
'cause
was a relatively inexpensive to run. It was pretty much gravity all the way.
It is gravity all the way.
So there's no pumping. There's no, you know,
it's not field pond or something.
No.
no, and it's a straight shot down, you know.
Wow.
So
Not straight, but.
well, you know, it's not going through a pump
It's
station.
downhill.
It's downhill.
There you
correct.
go.
It's straighter than your house will be.
Correct, and that's why we're in Hopedale, because everything pitches that way, and that's when they built the original treatment plant from 1906, and that's why the engineers designed it, they always put it near a river at the low point and worked its way back.
But
so.
John, how did they convince Hopedale to take our poop? I mean, at the end of the day, I understand it's the logical place, but if I'm in Hopedale, I don't know that I'd be.
It was a piece of land sitting way back in a swamp, and no one was using it,
Yeah,
so.
right. It was different back then too.
Yeah.
It's over 100 years ago, right? It was.
Yeah.
Nobody even
1906.
thought about it back
Yeah.
then.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got the pictures from when they were building it, they used oxens and everything else to dig it out.
Hey, they might have thought it was Milford and not realized it till after.
Now, something tells me they'd figure out the tax situation pretty quick.
Well, we don't have to pay taxes to them, so, because Milford doesn't pay taxes to them, you don't pay.
Oh, you don't pay anything?
No,
No.
no.
Oh, that's even a better deal.
Yeah, but we take some of theirs depending on the geographical
work
area,
with
and they
them.
take
Oh,
some
I
of ours.
see.
So
it's
it's
kind of like a pilot.
it kind of works
Yeah,
out
but
a
they
little
take
bit.
some of ours too, so it's
Yeah.
not, you know, like DeLuca Road, up
Yeah,
140 there,
Tommaso
that
Road.
goes into Hopedale.
Tomato Road.
And then
Razor
some of
Road.
Hopedale comes to us just because of the layout of the land, but.
The topo of the
you know,
land makes the
Yeah,
decision.
that way you don't have to pump it or.
No,
Right,
and
correct.
it's working with the town, you know.
Now, one of the things that I think every town around us is amazed is they look at the mammoth rate increases that you've incurred over the last decade. I mean, when was the last time we had a price increase?
2008 when I got on the board.
Okay, I gotta ask. I mean, here we are 11 years later. Costs have gone up. How is it we've not increased the sewer rate in 11 years?
Well, I mean, the debt service has gone down from projects that were bonded, 20 plus years ago. There's a lot of efficiencies the way that the departments run. I know we've said this multiple times, and John's guys, and they do a great job of doing a lot of internal work that saves the town on costs of repair, like we were talking about the RBC shaft. A lot of the road maintenance, the pump maintenance, we typically try not to bring in any outside contractors unless absolutely necessary. Unless we had like a force main that broke or something in the road that broke overnight. Most of the regular day-to-day operational work is done in-house, and they do an awesome job at it.
Well, they must. I mean, 11 years with no increase?
Yeah, we do quite a bit of work. We do more work than most municipalities do, and stuff like that. Like that RBC shaft that they were talking about. I discussed it with a couple people that install them, and we're saving them. Each one we do, you save them like about $100,000 on that, just installing it. And we've done, I think, 13 of them. Oh, no, we did more, we did 17.
Now, these are
17.
the impeller, the 12-foot
Well,
long ones?
yeah, it's a
Uh,
rotating biological
30 feet.
disc. And it's like 30 feet long
30 feet long.
and 12 feet in diameter. And it's a plastic media that's in it. And the water trickles down, they go around and the water trickles down through them. But we add lime and raise the pH up, turn nitrite to nitrate and remove ammonia through the gases. So we take the ammonia out of the wastewater itself. So it's a bacteria that's in the wastewater, but just give it the right conditions and it will come
But I
along.
mean, 30 feet. You don't just say, okay, Rudy, you grab one end, I'll grab the other.
No,
No, just the shaft alone, they weigh 8,000 pounds. So,
And we have 24 of those pieces. There's 24 individual RBCs in the RBC room. So there's not just one of them, there's a whole
it's in
slew of
water
them
all the time.
Mm.
It's halfway submerged.
yeah, running 24/7 too, so.
Now, when you think of sewer plants, you think of the big pools,
Yeah.
you know, with the
Yep.
the things turning.
Correct.
Is that what we're talking about, or?
No,
Okay.
this is inside.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got a different type of, most of those big tanks you see with treatment plants have mixed big tanks, and they call that a mixed liquor. And you got all your bacteria and stuff is in suspension, and the good bacteria eats the bad bacteria, and that too, but you give it the right type of air, oxygen, and lime for the same way we do the nitrogen removal. We have what they call as a fixed biological growth. We have trickling filters where it goes down and circles through it, and the water trickles down through the rocks, and it gets aerated. That takes the BOD out. That's the first stage of biological treatment. And then the next stage will settle that out, and then the next stage go to the RBCs and add the lime for
Now, when you say
nitrogen.
BOD, biological oxygen demand.
Right.
So basically, when the demand goes down, it means there's less little critters alive.
No, there are more critters alive. They're eating.
Oh, okay, it's the other way. There's more critters alive eating the poop.
Yeah, eating the bad bacteria. Good bacteria. The way simple term is good bacteria is eating the bad bacteria. All you got to do is give it the right condition. Air is one of them for the BOD removal. Now, when you go to nitrogen removal, you got to raise the pH up because a different bug will grow.
Oh, okay, so the
So it
alkaline
takes-
conditions will
right.
change it.
Right, and you do the air and the high pH, which is alkalinity. They eat alkalinity, so it takes, like I said, takes nitrite, turns into nitrate, and you remove ammonia through the gases. But now, with the fixed liquor, one problem you do have with it, it doesn't settle as good as the mixed liquor, so you got to add an additive. We use PAC, we used to use alum, it was high in aluminum, so they lowered our aluminum rates for everyone in the state, so you had to
So
cut
that's
it
like
back.
to make everything aggregate and
Right.
fall down.
Right, correct. It causes a flock and makes it and does it.
It's funny
sucks it
because
right down.
we think of antiflocculants in the biological process. You're the other way.
Right,
You want everything to just
right.
aggregate.
And that will grab it and take phosphorus removal in that stage. Takes the solids out and takes the phosphorus out.
Well, if you're getting rid of all the phosphorus, why is EPA all over our backs?
Well, they're trying to make it on the drain end. They were on our back before they were on yours. We used to be at 1, we went to 0.1.
Really?
Yeah,
An order of magnitude reduction.
yeah.
How?
They say that's what they do the testing and the studies, and they're saying that's what the river needs.
Okay. So now you've got these 24 screw things. How, I mean, I remember one time you told me it was like $100,000 that you invested just to redo one or something?
Oh, that's the screw
might have been
pump.
the
Yeah,
screw
the
pump.
screw pump is that's different.
That's different.
Yeah.
That's different.
Yeah, there's 5 of those. Those are
Those are 53 feet long.
Yeah, those are- yeah.
that
Yeah.
pump the fluid enough.
It's a big
Draws the water
big
up.
screw inside the pipe, and then that turns and the water goes up.
pulls the
screw.
water upward.
We have 5 of those.
Those are 270,000. Those aren't.
Yeah.
And those are another thing that they've saved a lot of money on
Yeah.
by doing it themselves.
We've changed all 5 of them.
Yeah.
Now, when you say doing it themselves, all I can picture is how big is this pipe
Which one?
with the screw pump?
The screw pump is 5 foot diameter. 5 foot, yeah.
So it's almost as tall as a normal person,
Yeah.
Well, that's
Would
the
it-
In
width,
diameter.
That's the
Diameter.
diameter.
Oh, no, that's diameter.
around.
That's
Now,
It's 52
yeah.
foot long. It's like a
50
tractor
feet-
trailer. length.
52, one's 52, one's 54.
So-
56, yeah.
Length.
156.
Lengthwise.
So,
And it's
Length.
on an angle sitting in a pit. It's drawing the water up.
so when it wears out, or when
Then
you have to do
Usually
something,
it dies, it breaks. It doesn't-
There's a bearing race in the middle where it supports, so as it's spinning, there's a bearing that's supporting it. So we've had issues with it cracking where the races are. So we'll shut it down. The guys will weld it, support it, grind it, repack the bearings. They're in an oil. They're
okay, now,
constantly
you-
submerged.
You make it seem pretty trivial. I got a 54-foot long screw
And a long
full
ladder.
of poop.
We do have to rent a crane, so there's a cost
No,
involved
but I'm
with that.
trying to think, what do you do? Pick the newest guy and say, okay, you're the new guy, you go into the poop?
No,
chute?
we teach everyone. That's one thing we do. We make sure everyone does everything in the whole treatment plant. So we get new employees, we show them how to do it and teach them how to do it and work it. So we
John,
make
it's
sure
gotta-
everyone does.
There's got to be some kind of training on universal precautions, because you're getting the worst of everything just thrown at you.
Yeah, there's trainings they go to schools and stuff, and when they do get their license and stuff, there's contact hours you have to get for every year. You have to get 10 hours a year, which they renew it every 2 years, so you get 20 hours every 2 years is how they work it. And they do all kinds of schooling for that. And then to get your license and stuff, there's a lot of schooling that has to go along with it. And we teach down the treatment plant ourselves, teach the people how to work it. And it takes a person a good year to learn what they're doing down there and be able to be confident and know what's going on. It's not something they learn overnight. And that's people that are mechanically inclined and stuff and doing stuff. And we've had a couple guys like Bob is a machinist and stuff, and he knew about machinists and everything, but when he got down there, it was like a whole different game. And he's come along a real good employee,
Well, I
but
mean,
learning
it's got to be
stuff.
something. You get a piece of metal or whatever, and you put it on your table and you weld it.
Right.
When the piece of metal weighs 8,000 pounds or is 50 foot long,
Yeah.
how do you even get to it?
Ladder. They go down there and work on it.
Yeah.
They drain the pit. It's not like you're working physically in a pool of poop.
Yeah.
So it gets pumped out, it gets drained, it gets cleaned, it gets washed down, power washed.
Yeah, we clean it out and do it and then get in there and work on it. and
You know,
do stuff. It's-
Those basins get painted on a, I don't know, annual or
Yeah.
every 2 years. They paint the inside of it, so that gets cleaned and drained and
But I'm
recoated.
trying to picture 5-foot diameter is what, that big?
That's true.
That's
That's
big.
2 foot.
That's big.
Yes, it's your-
It's that
It's like
big.
that
Yeah.
big.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's that big,
Right,
Yeah.
5 feet.
and the
yeah.
screw touches the,
It's
It's
right off
inside.
the
It's
wall.
internal.
inside.
right, but I
Yeah.
It's
mean,
internal, but it's right off it's about that much off the bottom of the wet well.
but against the wall, how much
No,
room
it's
is
on an
there?
angle.
It's on an angle. So it's on a,
I'm just trying to figure it, at 15 feet up, snap,
Mm-hmm.
how do you get to it to weld it?
well, when they snap like that, we've had one fall apart. The race fell off, everything fell off, and it dropped in the tank. So that was the worst one to take apart. It was dangerous. We were more afraid of danger and everything else. So we had to be very cautious and work with it, very tenderly and do with it.
Dangers
Stop it.
from the sharpness of the blades?
No,
or-
something
weight.
that whole falling down.
Yeah.
Oh.
It fell there. Now only thing holding it is a gearbox up there. 50
Okay.
feet up and
So it's like
on a
people-
cement landing, but it's holding that whole.
It's like people in the
It's
grain
holding that
silos,
shaft.
that they're looking up saying, if that
Yeah.
lets go,
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Right.
you're gonna get crushed.
Yeah.
The other ones we've caught them before they've come apart. This one came apart in the middle of the night. It wasn't.
You gotta remember, all this equipment is getting inspected daily, so it's not like there's a pump out in the back and it runs and.
No, but again, Rudy, what I'm wondering about is I got this long 50-foot pipe. How do I inspect inside the pipe? Is it optical or?
It's
More
daily checking.
external.
You walk by it every
Sound
day. It
is
makes a
another thing.
noise.
Oh.
When we hear a
Sound,
belt,
sound.
like we'll walk around and inspect in the morning, and just I walk around and my assistant chief walk around, and we walk together and we walk and we listen. And you can hear this going. Is there something making a noise over here? Something making a noise over there, and you go and check
So
it
you
out.
get used to a hum
You
or
go-
whatever. and-
exactly.
It's like an appliance at your house.
Yeah.
Yeah, all of a
your
sudden
washing
it's-
machine starts making a noise.
And it gets temperature-wise, it makes a different noise when it's colder and then it's warmer.
It's like anything else.
So now, what gives you the biggest headaches? In the old days, you talked about, what people flushed down was torpedoes and diapers and pads and.
Diapers would probably be on the list, not as big as the disposable wipes that they advertise disposable.
No, wait a minute. Disposable
Correct.
wipes.
It-
You
it's
buy
a-
them because you can throw them down the toilet.
Right, and people do it, and it does say it on there, but
There's no
It-
such thing.
Flushable is not really flushable.
yeah.
Okay, help me understand.
It's more headacheable.
When a toilet discharges, so biological matter down the tube, you're set up to handle that.
Right.
But cloth, like,
Yeah, and most of that's going down there is not a solid, or it doesn't
Yeah.
have fiber in it, or it's going to mush up
Synthetic
or whatever,
weave
or
or how
break
you wanna
apart or
machine
whatever.
it. Right.
When you have a towel that has fibers in it, or strands, whatever you want to call it, it doesn't break down, so it doesn't get easier as it goes down.
can you get a towel into the toilet?
You can.
Doesn't it stop?
We have.
Really?
Yeah, we've
I
got.
mean, it just seems
You
funny
get
because you would.
spoons, you get all different types of stuff will go down there. It's a 4-inch line.
When your
Yeah, but
wife's
it-
hair gets wrapped up in the vacuum
Yeah, but then
cleaner,
on a-
it's
on a-
kind of the same principle.
not
It's
a-
not working too good.
If you look in your house, it's not a sharp 90-degree angle
No,
on the
but when
pipes.
Thomas Crapper made his invention,
Right,
to keep the smell out, it had
a trap.
Trap.
a trap. And the
Correct.
water,
Right, but it's going by that.
and it doesn't just fall and.
No, because
plug.
it's made for a certain size to go through there. It's not a tight turn. It's got a. If you
Okay.
look at the
Probably
elbows
got
in a
3-inch
sewer
turn
system, yeah.
through the whole
If you look
thing
at
inside.
it's not a sharp 90 in your house with your waste pipe. It's got a longer sweep to them. Things will go down there. You'd be surprised what goes down there. Don't try it. Well, you can try it at home because you got a septic. But
Yeah, I was going to say, no thank you.
Yeah.
I would love to be able to say I give John Mainini problems.
and they find stuff. It gets caught at the pumps.
Right.
They have to
With
pull
the
them off.
flushable things, one thing that we've come up with is the pump companies have themselves is non-clogging centrifugal pumps. There's no such thing as non-clogging, but it does a lot better at it than because of the wipes. So it's got more of an open face to it, so it doesn't have all the veins in it, so the stuff don't get caught on the veins. So it's got more of an open face. It's they've only made them on the smaller pumps, like Field Pond they don't make them that big to work that high. In fact, they didn't on 495, but when we Birch Street they didn't. But by the time we did 495, they had some there. So when we had 495 rebuilt from the Kmart project, which did the upgrade on that, and that's another reason why some of our rates have been that way. We've worked with different projects of rebuilding the stations and doing them over. They rebuilt that. Cornerstones rebuilt the Birch Street pump station. Howard Street got rebuilt
So
by.
you've been leveraging the projects to pay for
Correct.
the big
Correct.
expense.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's like when you talk about the I&I, a company comes in, whether it be Walden Woods, and you have to take 5 gallons out for the gallon that you're putting in theory, the equation. So they're doing I&I work for us. So instead of us having to dig up pipes or reline pipes, that contractor, per the permit, is doing that work. So it's saving the town. They're getting,
prevailing wage.
Right,
It's
they're
just a
getting-
huge.
they're getting what
he
they
can
need.
get away with it.
We're getting what we need, and it's
It's a
helping.
win-win situation. for
Right,
everyone.
we're working with each other.
But now, we hear the 40B project, for some reason decided not to tie into sewer. And they're doing their own plant.
Yeah, you're supposed to be doing their own treatment plant.
Now,
Right.
with all due respect, why am I a little skeptical that 20 or 30 years from now, when the plant needs major overhaul or they lose a screw pump or, how, do we really believe they're not gonna come back to the town and ask us to pick it up?
We really had no say in that. It was the state that gives them the approval on that. And to me, personally, I don't even think the land up there would accept the sewerage because it's all ledge. Obviously, that's where all the ledge has been.
So you'd be like where we are.
I was skeptical
at
that it wouldn't
Whitewood.
work from the beginning, not 20, 30 years down the road.
Yeah.
No, but I'm thinking it'd be the same problem we have at Whitewood is it
Yeah.
costs you a fortune to blast through.
Right. Exactly.
I mean, Milford Pink Granite giveth and Milford Pink Granite taketh away.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's been a few projects that have been proposed up on 16, especially and have opted out of bringing sewer up there, and,
Right.
and you know, Zane Ridge goes in a different direction, but.
Well, I mean, if it's a septic, I can see it. You know, if, in our neighborhood, we've had.
Well,
a couple-
basically,
It's a huge
their own
one.
treatment plant is a septic system, except for they treat it and put it back into the ground. That's how they were gonna do it.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's just a big
Septic tank.
septic system.
Septic.
That's all it was, but that's why I still can't believe the ground would be able to take it, you know, but
Yeah, I mean, when they did that with perk tests and
perk
all,
test and all
to
that
make
stuff.
sure that
Yeah.
my
Right.
septic system would be big
Right,
enough.
they did a perk test supposedly for the
Casino.
treatment plant and stuff to do that, for that
Yeah,
40B
but
up
if it
there.
was the
but-
casino, there's enough money going in that I could believe that.
They were
They
gonna
were gonna
take
do a
care of
lot of
every
work.
problem, the casino would have took care of every
Well, that's what
problem
I'm saying.
along the way. They didn't care, they
Well,
weren't
they were gonna
concerned
bring it
about
up
the
there
price.
anyways.
They were
Right.
gonna,
They were
wanted
gonna
to-
do their own,
right.
but when their own system.
They weren't gonna
goes-
do their own treatment
No,
plant.
they were gonna bring
They were gonna do the
sewer up there.
upgrades that we
Bring
were
the
gonna
sewer,
do.
they were gonna bring
Okay.
the sewer down, and they're gonna do the 5-to-1 and do all that stuff.
They were gonna pay us to
Pay
do
us,
it.
yeah.
I think
Right.
there was 2 pump stations to rebuild. They were
Yeah.
gonna run septic sewer line up Route 16,
Yeah.
so
All the residents.
the residents could tie in, kind of like what we did with the Hopkinton Purchase Street side, so, but that
Yeah.
didn't come to
Yeah,
fruition.
just when I heard they were doing their own, I sat there and I said, I can just see it in 20 years. When something fails and they
Yeah.
come back to the town,
I didn't think it would last 20, like I said, I wasn't confident in it not lasting at all.
so you didn't even get a voice to say this is legitimate testing or not?
Well, it didn't matter to us.
Didn't matter, it goes to state, we have no say on it. The only one that I think would probably be able to say something would be the Board of Health, and they couldn't say too much because the state would be the approvals of it, not.
You know, the problem is the only ones they're gonna appeal to is the state department set up to promote affordable housing.
Yeah,
So I'm guessing that probably the reason was that it would have been cheaper for them to build the treatment plant than it would be for them to bring the
Correct.
sewer up the street. You know,
Oh, that
from-
I believe.
Yeah, so I'm thinking that it was a cost issue, the reason why they wanted to do that.
That I believe in a heartbeat, but when
Yeah.
that developer leaves town,
Well, that's always a possibility.
I think he's trying to sell it, he's not even gonna develop it, that's what,
oh, really?
yeah.
See, that would worry me if I was gonna buy and I wasn't quite sure of,
Well, that's why it's not, that's why it's
Well,
not selling.
is that rental or is that,
No, he's gonna sell the whole project.
yeah, but
He does
you're
that.
talking about a developer buying it or an investor?
no, I'm talking about if I was gonna rent it, I could care less, because
Yeah,
if
I
it
think
goes
they're gonna
bad,
be
I
rented, aren't
move.
they?
Right,
Right, but the project himself,
Someone's
he's
gonna
not
want
gonna do it, he's trying to sell it to
Yeah.
someone
Oh,
to,
okay.
Yeah.
he's trying to sell it to another big contractor to come in and do the whole project.
yeah.
So
He got all the permit part of it done, so now he turns around, sells it, makes money
all
on
the biological matter and all flows downhill, it hits your building, and is there a screen, or how do you get rid of all this non-disposable disposables?
Those do cause a problem, even we have grinders, we call them muffin monsters, and a set of gears.
Muffin monster?
Yeah, and there's a set of gears in there that cut all rags up and chew it all up and break it all up. But those still have a problem, even that they don't cut
Yeah,
up.
those are-
They don't
those
cut
are
up, they
nice.
go through them and then you end up with them caught in our pumps down different parts of the stages there also.
I was gonna say, even if you grind it up, then
There's there's such a fiber,
bacteria isn't gonna eat.
yeah, it's such a fiber that it makes it through it, but it doesn't
You ever try
disintegrate
ripping
it.
one of those?
No,
Try it,
Yeah.
see what
It's
happens.
like an old handy wipe, those
Yeah.
things were pretty tough.
Yeah.
You know?
I have granddaughter, I'll have to,
Well,
I have to try it, that, the wipey
Yeah.
things that you pull out.
Yep.
yeah.
So,
That and grease.
how do you deal with it?
They had a problem, I think we were having a problem at Countryside, correct? We had a
Correct,
problem
Field
at one.
Pond.
Yeah,
They're
yeah.
getting caught in Field Pond pump up there.
Everything gets caught, I mean,
But it was causing, now we were having to pull the pumps once a day. There was so many rags getting caught in there, so we had to trace it
Yeah.
back. And what we do is we put bricks in different spots and see where it's, coming from here, 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 and we trace it all the way back to there. We had a hard time convincing, we were going, I think, almost a year, going up there every day, checking the rags, pulling the rags off, and going and say, hey, listen, there's still rags, hey, there's still rags. But we haven't had that problem since some new management took over and everything else, and so they're
Yeah,
running
they
it.
were,
was
they were
a
good
few
about it.
years
They
They realized
so
there's
you
a
were able to
problem.
trace it all the way back to the
Countryside.
countryside?
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh, it's a little easier down there, I think you
Well,
probably
there's two,
suspected.
there's two different areas down there, so it's either them or coming from the residential area, so
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
Maybe.
the residential
You
would
get
be
down to
harder.
495 or whatever, you know,
Right.
you have a few homes down there, you have medical places, it's
Yeah,
a
we've
little tougher
chased it
to
on
find.
Birch Street. Birch Street's had a couple problems with it. And we've found mostly it's been that Cornerstone was giving us a couple times problems, but then they stopped. And what happens is a lot of places, industrial places, is if you have a cleaning company come in, they all clean the thing, and then guess what they do? Throw it right down.
Oh, so they don't have to pay to,
Right,
Right,
right. So you have to watch.
one less thing to carry out.
That's what you have to watch for when these places have different new companies come in to do the cleaning service.
wow.
And that's one of the things that.
So we're gonna probably put something on the bills now, you know, notifying people that we'd like them not to dispose of them.
Yeah.
You know, and
Yeah, we discussed that the last.
Dear
meeting.
residents, have you liked the fact you haven't had a rate increase in a decade?
well, I mean,
Help us out here.
Yeah, grease is another thing that we have. They're constantly chasing. Grease is causes a
Now,
lot of backups.
do we have to test for oil and grease?
No.
Because we're too small, or?
It gets all floats up and it's in the treatment plant itself. It gets removed from the.
Yeah, but I thought the EPA had methods where,
If you have an industrial waste, then you'll have to test for your oils and grease and stuff like that there. Ours, grease ends
So,
up
you know,
floating. You have like a detention time in the primary clarifiers is 1 to 2 hours, 3 to 4 in the other ones. So when you have that much detention time, the grease all comes to the top and you take and get it that
They
way.
skim it off.
Skim it off. We have skimmers that
But
go
to
on.
clarify,
And
right,
automatically doing it all the time.
yeah, for some reason I thought, you know, some of the EPA regs, like the 1664s and the 680s.
Right, but that's on the.
But that doesn't
Right.
count.
We used to have, like, when we had Foster Forbes over here, or
Yeah.
whatever you want to call them there. There was a problem over there all the time with the oil and grease. We used to have to be on them all the time with that.
And we just collect and send it out to labs to test for us, or?
Actually, it'd end up getting caught in our pump station we had over there they went to, and we'd have to have them bring in a septic company. Septic company would suck it all out and take it away. And it would be at that cost. We had a couple times we had to argue with them over it, but.
So besides rags and wipes,
Wipes.
towels? I'm still amazed.
Towels,
how you
I don't think is a big headache. Grease
Yeah.
is another one.
Yeah.
yeah, the grease.
Grease gets caught, congeals, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, when you hit a spot where flow will hit into the other flow, like say one's coming down, the other one kicks into it. If it doesn't flow with it, it hits it. The olden days they made them let them go into like a T type of thing. Now we swoop them all so it sucks it all out. But when you hit one and it backs up a little bit, now it takes for that grease to build up.
Yeah, I remember
So there's
reading,
like bad spots that we do
I remember
monthly.
reading about fatbergs in New York City, you know, where it's like huge icebergs of fat that's congealed.
Yeah,
Right.
they're all huge things of rags now,
Oh.
of wipes. That's
Yeah.
where you find. They're like size of this room. That's what you'll have.
Yeah, they were showing the fatbergs.
Well, the
were huge.
rags, the balls of rags are this big now too.
Yeah,
Oh.
And it's like they don't even know how to get them out of there sometimes.
I was gonna say, how do you get it out?
That's what it is. They don't. They can have a hard time. They have to go in and cut it all out. And, you know, get a ball this big. How do you? You can't lift it. And you can't get it through the 4-foot open that you have on top.
Oh.
They got to go in and cut it all up. And
get the suits on.
Yo,
Scuba
God.
gear.
yeah, in the
Get the
city, that's
suits on.
a major problem with the rags. Those disposable wipes are.
Now, how do we do as far as our sewer pipes? I know for years you were worried that some were cracking and.
Yeah, we're doing a study right now. State's requiring everyone to do an I&I study, which is inflow infiltration, and we've had it going the last
8 weeks, right?
8 weeks.
7
And
weeks, 8 weeks.
with all the heavy rain we had, we actually going to save some money because we can take out the meters now because the rain was enough rain in this past month. Obviously, everyone knows April that. We've had enough readings from that'll give us an actual I&I work that we'll be able to.
So now I&I, you're dealing with crack pipes, and trees going in and.
There's both.
Yes.
Oh.
There's people putting it in.
Putting it in, pumping it
Some
in,
pumps.
or
Some pump.
some pumps.
Some
So
pumps.
I&I inflow is what inflows through crack pipes and
Right.
that there. Infiltration is like someone has a cap off they're pumping it in. Someone has sub pumps, they're pumping it in.
Direct connection,
Those
gutter.
direct connections.
There's still gutters that are hooked
Gutters.
up that we keep finding here
Yeah.
and there.
People's gutters that are tied into the sewer system.
Now,
So
many years ago, the three of you and the good Dr. Sinadella made a promise to the townspeople that if they fessed up, you would not go after them. You would help them, you would take their sump pumps offline, but you wouldn't,
Right.
fine them or anything.
No, that's still holds
How many
true.
people have you fined since you promised you wouldn't?
I think we've got.
No, how
Well,
many
we
people have
haven't
we
fined-
fined? We haven't
we haven't
fined
fined
anybody.
anybody.
Yeah, I
How
don't
much
know,
did we
but
fine?
seriously.
No, we
You
haven't
made
fined
a
anybody.
promise and
No.
people were scared.
And a lot of people
saying,
came forward.
We've
you
done
know-
over, 125?
130 something.
So we've done,
So you've done 130 homes,
Yep.
Yeah, we've
and
got.
you've not gone after any of these
No.
people who
No.
fessed up.
No,
no, not a nickel.
we've
So I
changed
guess
it, and
you got a pretty good track record. I shouldn't worry that if I got a sump pump
No.
hooked up incorrectly, that
Right.
I should
Yeah.
come and call you.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we've got, I think, like 20 listed on the list for this year here to do.
Yeah.
So we've got like 20 more that we're gonna do this year. And the best way we get best results we have is when highway's gonna do a road over, we hand out handouts on that street saying that, now's the time to connect to the sewer, we're gonna have the road dug up. If the road's dug up, you're not gonna be able to take it out of there, and you could be in trouble at that point, so now's the
So
time.
we're
to-
connecting them actually to the storm drain system, not to the, we're taking them out of the sewer,
Sewer.
putting them into the storm drain.
Storm drain.
So that's a separate piping system.
Yeah, so a lot of
Yeah.
people get them,
They call it the sewer, even though it's
Yeah.
Yeah,
storm
it's,
drain.
I got the little grate. with
The little grates with the little
fishy-
fish.
Yeah.
With
yeah.
the little
That's-
fishies.
That's not the sewer.
That's not the sewer.
That's the storm drain.
That's where the water should be going when it
Right.
rains.
Right.
Correct.
Runoff.
Yeah.
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 Not into our pipes to get treated.
Yeah.
But how does it get in? Now, okay, here's the question. I can see the storm drains because they're open. All I gotta do is aim a hose that way and it'll flow in.
Right.
How does it get into the sewer pipe? I thought sewer pipes were closed.
Drain
Okay,
caps.
we've seen a
What's
lot
a
of,
drain cap?
So you know the cleano. I just don't mean drain cap. Cleano cap.
Yeah.
You get a cleano cap. People will actually crack the cleano cap and put the sump pump hose into the cleano cap.
Or just leave it
or just
off.
leave
Or
it
just
off.
leave it off if they get a wet basement.
So if somebody has a clean out that's below, a lot of houses have a little box in their floor and the clean out's in there. If they had to snake to the road, they take the cap off, run the snake out, put the cap back on. The water level is below the floor.
Oh,
They take the cap off, they leave it loose, the water's just constantly going out. It never rises
up-
up into their
Up where we
house.
live, we have high groundwater, so it's very common. Even though we're up in the high point of town with the clay, there's a lot of groundwater up in that Highland Street area. So it's common to find that going on up there.
But wouldn't-
French drains that are tied in that the College Streets area. When they built those houses, contractors would put a French drain with pipes around them and actually attach it to the sewer pipe going out. That was common
Andy
practice
Lane.
back in the '60s. So
Allegedly,
well,
So-
yeah. When I think of that clean out,
right.
okay, that's got raw sewage running in there.
Yeah.
yep.
I take the top off. Doesn't
Amazing.
everybody in my house know that I've taken the
Well,
top
they
off?
do, but some of these have they have a box with a cover, and they're putting that cover back on, or they're putting stone, or some people put a fabric in
But the
there.
stink goes up.
It is a methane gas.
I was gonna say.
I seen one house when we were doing the first time doing the smoke testing. The person that was living down the cellar, it had like an extra bedroom down there, had like a sink down there, and the sink went right over and dropped into the square box, and the cap was off.
Thought the house was on
Yeah.
fire.
Yeah.
Now, we've had areas like Field Pond that they always come up on the hit parade of, what keeps John Mainini awake at night.
Yeah.
Is it getting better?
We got to upgrade. That's going to be one of our next steps. I think after we do the sludge handling building, our next step is probably to rebuild that pump station or do something with that pump station.
Now,
too.
the fundamental problem is it's way down low and Highland Street is way up
Yeah.
high, right?
Yeah.
In layman's terms.
Correct.
So I gotta take everything way down low and pump it
Way
to
up high.
Highland Street so it can run.
357 feet up.
Oh, it's that much?
Yeah.
So I gotta bring it up 350 feet.
Yeah.
Okay, how do I do that?
150 horsepower motors.
Two of them, big ones. Little redundancy.
Yeah.
And like a screw pump again?
No,
or-
they just, it's such a head that you have to have, it's 150 horsepower and you're going up that, so your pressure's like about, I want to say, 127, 130, something like that there on the pumps itself to push it up. So what we're proposing to do as our next stage to look into is maybe make a double stage like in the water system. They put one pump into the other pump, which water they do several pumps. They'll put like 6, 8 into it, but they're doing clear water. So we're going to have to do is one pump into the next one, bring that up, and then bring it up. So you bring the pressure up to 100 and going into that, or 50.
100 psi?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
And when that valve closes,
I was gonna say, I'm just thinking of if you get a leak.
yep.
Well,
We
just,
find
think of,
it-
just think of the weight of the water that's from
Right.
that pump up to where it discharges, 300 feet of water coming back at it.
That's, I mean, you've got enough head pressure there to.
That's why the electricity bill's,
Expensive.
$150 a month. It gets to be very expensive down there. So the main goal that we've been trying to do is alleviate some of the water that goes to there when it rains out. That's the whole purpose of the sump pump program was to, we know we're getting overloaded down there and there's a lot of groundwater getting into that down that flows down that hill. We're trying to get people to take that out, get it to go into the storm drain. It's just less that has to handle down there. But
It's worked somewhat. We used to get that station pumped as high as 1 million gallons a day. And we've gotten it down to now, it's like, I think the peak we've had is like 6 or 8 million gallons now. Even with this heavy rain, I think we hit like 680 or something like that.
So you've knocked it down 40% already.
Yeah.
But if you divert it, then who takes care of the storm drains? Is that you too?
No, the highway takes care of storm drains, but it's not overflowing the storm drains. They'll be able to handle that.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say, you could not have a fan in Scotty if you increase his load by 40%.
Theirs don't, like ours comes down to that one point and it goes, theirs goes in all different directions up in that
okay.
area. So it's not, one half comes down, goes.
But they
to-
don't have to send it to a central point either.
No.
They can be
Right,
like
theirs
my
gets
house
a
where.
dispersed.
stream or
Yeah,
wherever,
any
wherever they
stream,
have it
brook,
set up
or
to.
wherever,
Okay.
so that
Yeah.
gets all dispersed to.
So they're not
Different
getting
areas.
the 3 million gallons a
No, they're
a
not
day.
getting that 1 million in one congested spot that we would
Yeah.
get.
Because when I think about the water company and they talk how they've got 1 million something gallons during the winter and shoots up to 3 to 5 million during the summer because of everybody's sprinklers.
Yeah.
But that goes everywhere.
Right.
Now, a while ago, town meeting invested a bunch of money to make a new house for you. I won't say compacting facility, but a water
sludge
Sludge
handle.
thickening
Sludge
facility, yeah.
sludge thickening, yes.
Yeah, you won't want to live in that house.
No.
But all kidding, you said one of the benefits was that the odor would be knocked down by having the
Yeah.
building.
Right.
Right.
We're gonna have carbon removal through remove the hydrogen sulfide and the fumes through it. That, and there was 2 thickeners that were sitting outside, we're covering them, and then cover on top of the truck, so when the truck gets pumped out, it removes all those odors that come out of the top of the truck. So it's gonna be, odor is gonna help out, and it's also gonna be, sludge is gonna be thicker. Right now, we get 3%. When we do that truck, we'll have 6, high as 7. We could have more, but they won't let you pump more than 7. If you pump more than 7, now they charge you an extra fee, so it's like you gotta hold it in that 6 range.
So we were paying by weight.
Gallons.
Or gallons.
Gallons and the percent solid of the gallons.
And we want to increase the percent solids so that essentially our gallons go down.
Water goes down and
Water
more
goes
solids.
And we save a lot of money that way.
Save money by that, doing that, and remove just the solids.
And we can go from 3% solids in the waste to 6.
Correct.
And then we won't have to truck as often either, in theory.
Yeah,
We'll have
well,
less gallons.
But why don't they, is it they can't pump it?
They
or?
can't handle it, now they can't do anything with it when it gets above that.
But
They can't pump it.
they can't pump it, I was
They
gonna
can't
say.
pump it. Yeah.
If I handed you
They can't
solid,
pump it, and they put it on a press, and then they incinerate it. It won't be able to get it onto the press.
oh, okay, so they're squeezing it like Like our
They-
grandfathers used to make
Right,
wine.
right, but they do it through bell presses type of
He
thing.
won't drink wine again.
They do
No,
it through
but-
bell presses type. Some have those type, but most of them do it through the bell press. So it goes through a series of rollers with the belts, and it goes out through the
And then
belts.
they burn it all.
Then they burn it and incinerate it. So they'll take like a 10,000, we could take like 95 or 9,700 gallons. They'll take that and turn it into like a wheelbarrow full of sludge when they're all done.
Oh,
Well,
you're talking an
we're only
18
3% now, and then the water's gonna
But
go out and then
10,000
burn.
gallons, you're talking an 18-wheeler like a gas truck.
Correct.
And
We
you
do
squeeze
4 of
that
those.
into a wheelbarrow?
Yeah, well,
they burn
when they burn it, it goes down into it. They get it smaller when they
Oh, okay.
take the water out
Reduce
of it.
it.
They reduce it, take it down into probably like a 20-30%, then incinerate it, and then bring it down to, it's all
Where-
paper.
where
So
do
it's
they do
basically paper,
this?
so it burns it off. The company we have now, Synago, they go to Woonsocket.
Boy, aren't we the mean people? We send our poop to Hopedale and then concentrate it and send it to Woonsocket.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't give it to them, they charge us. So.
Well, I have no doubt. So
We pay daily.
what are we doing? I mean, we had sludge solidify, whatever you're calling it, outside,
Yeah.
which
Right.
can't be good. I mean, the environment has to take its toll on the equipment when it's outside.
It's not so much, the sludge itself takes more on the equipment than the environment does.
Really?
Yeah. So the sludge and all that stuff, it's old, that's old. They're rebuilding that part. That's getting rebuilt. The grit removal, which is all the sand and the eggshells and stuff like that, we're getting a new one of those into this part of that building too. So that's where some of the cost went up from the originally like 2-point-something million, 2.3, and then ended up with 5.4.
Eggshells survive this process?
Oh yeah, there's
You think of eggshells as cracking
right.
if you look at them.
Yeah, but look how many everyone throws down. But something similar to that, all stuff like that, sand, grit, and stuff like that gets all into it. All these leaking pipes and stuff, they leak grit into it, so you get those and get that, remove that.
Oh, that would make sense.
Yeah, we remove we run that every day. We probably remove like about a wheelbarrow full of grit and eggshells and all that stuff every day. And that process it was over the old plant, and that's what 86, so 33 years old now, right?
Yeah, so we're upgrading to some newer technology equipment. We had, I don't know how many Band-Aids you put on that stuff before. It's been welded, it's been repaired.
Yeah.
It's, they're
But
upgrading.
why did we need a new house?
Well, now the truck is gonna pull, it's the 2 machines, we have 2 machines now that are
Right.
gonna be going in
There was
so
no
we're
room
gonna
to
have
put
a
them in
backup.
an existing place.
Okay.
So we had to
It's a
put,
bigger piece of equipment than what we had before.
yeah, we had to put those into a bigger building, and then while we were doing it, we were taking the grit from that building and pumping away over to this one. We're gonna put new pipes and put it into that building, so to fit everything into it, so that's why.
And now the truck's gonna actually pull in
Pull
the
in.
building. They'll
Right.
be able to close the doors, fill the truck, they'll be able to,
Without being gross, I mean, that's got to help the neighbors.
Yeah,
yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
We're
that's why we,
sensitive too.
that's what we were
We're
looking.
sensitive guys down there
We
too.
were looking
Well,
at.
I'm just thinking.
We're looking to do
No,
that,
I
and,
mean,
and you're gonna be able to, the whole thing is you're gonna be able to leave the doors open, because you're gonna have that, exhaust fan over the top of it and purifying that water, air, and taking it out of it, so,
So it's just activated carbon filters?
correct.
We're being proactive on, moving forward with some of these, the EPA regulations that we have and the stormwater regulations that that the town of, everybody's gonna comply to, and part of our comprehensive wastewater plan. We're just trying to keep everything on, the 5-year plans that we talk about with FinCom, the 10-year plans. That's where we did this building. Field ponds next. We're just trying to just be proactive on keeping all the stuff up to date and
But when
running.
you talk about building a pumping station or rebuilding whatever you're doing in Field Pond, that's not minor expense.
No,
No,
No.
it's
field ponds probably.
probably $750,000.
To do
That specific one, because it's so expensive. Most of the other ones, are probably like under 100,000
Yeah,
to
but
rebuild them,
still.
but that one there is, you're gonna have to get those
Well,
big
Field
pumps.
Ponds, is that the worst? I mean,
That's our worst, that's,
Yeah.
350 feet up is,
yeah, that's
Yeah.
our worst one. Most of them pump 20 feet, 30 feet. Some don't even, not even pumping that high.
And it was probably somewhat undersized when it initially was approved, you know, so that's not helping our situation either.
Well, I mean, Field Pond, you think of the area.
Mm.
I mean, even Highland Street. I remember as a kid taking my bicycle up Highland, and we got to where now the light is
Yeah.
at Fountain Street, and the road ended.
Yeah.
You know, it was like, okay. Then remember the rich people's houses, Ridgewood? They went from ranches, all the rich people that had
well.
split levels.
Yep.
You know, I mean, you
Yeah.
start thinking about when we
Now
grew
all
up.
the rich houses are on like Leah Lane. And
No,
it's
no,
gonna
yeah.
be up and out here.
No, but think about it. When,
They don't have any sewer though.
I was going to say, we don't even get sewer.
And they're still expensive.
Yeah.
But you know, you think about that whole area when we were kids,
Right.
there was nothing there.
No.
You know, the U-turn was the U-turn. The only thing that we knew about it was a place to go and read books on a Thursday night, and
Yulee Turner.
Yeah.
Huey Turner.
Yeah.
I'll never forget the Milford High Sewing Club. Every class thought they invented the idea of the Milford High Sewing Club so they could get an announcement.
Yeah.
Because it was Huey Turner and Eddie Grover.
Yeah.
The one down by Waters was Eddie Grover. I remember those. The Milford High Sewing Club will meet this evening at Eddie Grover's place. What are the big troublesome areas you see coming?
Well,
Or the biggest challenges you see coming?
Well, Field Pond
Field Pond
obviously is
definitely, I
one.
mean, was one of them.
Upgrades to the treatment plant. We
Yeah.
gotta, like I said, the thing is 30-something years
I think the
old.
trickling filters will be one
Trickling
of the,
filters, the
Yeah.
clarifiers and stuff, we're gonna be doing them all over and doing stuff a little bit at a time. And we're gonna try to do everything in-house the same way,
Oh, wow.
and try and save money and do it ourselves.
And at
stuff.
some
But-
point, the relining that we did, that's only good for, 7 to 10 years. So at some point, that whole process is going to have to come over again.
What do you reline it with?
It's like a fiberglass mesh that gets pulled through and then hit with steam, and it's like almost like a resin, fiberglass resin, like a body shop resin. You get that fiberglass smell. You're doing body work, It gets pulled through, steamed, and it expands and basically seals the inside of the lining of the pipe. Versus digging it up, digging up the road, digging up the road and the ground, putting new pipes in. That costs. It's a lot cheaper to do it that way than to dig up all the infrastructure.
You know, I can imagine that you could do a lot of pipe, inside, by
Yeah.
just coating the wall versus especially you start ripping up roads that Scotty just did, you're not going to have a fan.
No.
The only thing with the line of the pipes, when you do the pipe itself, it's okay. Then you have to go in and they put like a top hat through it. We call it a top hat, and it's another little piece of fiberglass that goes out and shoots up the liner, because most of them break where their Y was connected. So so those break off, so you end up putting a fiberglass liner up like 6-8 feet up the pipe, and seal that all up, heat that up. Same thing as it's fiberglass. Heat it up and resin it and harden it, and then that's the only.
we've had some conversations about a camera truck,
Yeah.
as a purchase coming down the road, but really in the preliminary thought
Yeah,
stage.
because the state is doing requiring
The
the
INI.
study that we're doing. There's going to be do the study first, and then they're going to say, okay, here's you got to remove so much water. So now we have to look at it when we come to that. Okay, what do we do? Do we send it all out as people come in and do it, private contractors, or do we purchase a truck maybe ourselves with the camera and start doing it
Do
ourselves?
the repairs
It's
ourselves.
expensive when you do the camera of a linear. What's
Yeah.
a linear feet? We have to do like 100 linear feet. It's.
Yeah. To line it, it's probably
Well, I'm saying a camera.
camera. They charge you by the hour.
Yeah, so I mean, we looked at if you only got to do one little section, if you're having an emergency, now you got to bring the guys out. You got to pay the prevailing and the cost of that
Yeah.
versus having the truck's not going to be used all the time, but in the long run, with some of the age of
Yeah,
the
we
areas
did one little
have,
piece the other day. Last week we did one piece on Mount Pleasant Street where the person was getting a problem. It was $2,200 to do the thing, to keep your camera and do it.
Yeah, see.
And that was half a day's work.
It was cheaper when you took the Polaroid and sent Rudy.
Yeah,
Here, Rudy, here's the
But
Polaroid.
that's what you're talking a half a day. So that's why we're looking at maybe, that's just one project, and they do that. When you get a whole bit of a project, then the price comes way down and stuff
Well,
like that.
all kidding aside, you haven't asked the FinCom for any money, as long as I can remember. Except that one big building That was the
Right.
only time that you really came. I mean, that was what, $5 million or something?
5.4, yeah.
5.4 million.
Right.
So I mean, that extraordinary. But when you think about, coming in front of the Capital Committee, I never see you guys.
No.
You're my favorite department.
And
You never come.
And I'm not going to say the good thing about that. We had that money in either, how we want to call it, our stabilization, our account.
So a lot of Hopkinton money was.
Yeah, that money, so we didn't have to raise the rates to generate that revenue. We had that put aside, knowing that when we recuperated the money from the Hopkinton deal, we were putting that aside for, Field Pond.
You never
and that.
really asked for any. We put away $1.5 million every year for capital for the town.
Yeah,
You guys have never come and asked for your part of it, which is nice.
Yeah, the enterprise fund is its own separate, so that's why.
right.
Yeah.
Any last messages to the residents?
Please don't flush the wipes.
And the grease.
Throw them away. Throw them away.
Yeah, and if you got a sump pump, give us a call.
We'll take care of it for you.
Again, I bring up the point that you promised you wouldn't prosecute anybody if they fessed up, and you've done 130 and you haven't gone after anybody.
No.
So-
If that word gets out, then you'll
Well,
never
you're
get
dead.
you'll never get another person, and we encourage people to come forward. We're not-
And I joke and I get made fun of when I say that's just not Milford. People here, when you promise the townspeople something,
Yeah.
they got long memories if you don't come
And when you
through.
do one for a neighbor and they advocate for you that you did a good job, you replenished everything, you fixed it all, and there was no charge,
It's a great
it
program.
just kind of keeps flowing.
Another town came in, sat with us at our meeting, want to know exactly how we do it. They were very interested because I think our engineer had mentioned to them that we did it, and they came in and they sat down and
Framingham
talked.
gave us a call last year too.
Yeah, so,
Interested
you
in
know,
the
it's-
same thing. And
Congratulations.
the state is, telling people to call us because we've been doing it for a while.
One more thing that people look to Milford for.
Yep.
And as always, this program works. Many of the programs they have, I mean, if you have sewer, be happy. But all kidding aside, I don't know of any other service that you could have bought in a decade ago and still pay the same exact amount as you do now. Really does talk about how dedicated the staff is and how efficient the management is. So thank you from all of us, even us who don't have sewer. And as always, to our 6 loyal viewers, 5 of which will have sewer, thank you for joining us. May God bless, and may tomorrow be a better night than tonight. Thank you.
Not too long since I've been home. Been running all my life just searching for my soul.